Hey, today's show brought to you by what, Steve?
World of Warships.
Thank you for being prepared for this, Steve.
I'm so prepared right now.
We're going to...
Prepared like your Navy will be with some of the bonuses that you get,
That's
like
right.
250 doubloons.
And I'm going to have a Campbellton. But listen, we'll talk about the whole thing and how you can build your fleet in a little bit. In the meantime, let's get to the show.
Panago Pizza presents SCP. The Steve Dangle Podcast with your hosts, Steve Dangle and Adam Wilde.
Welcome to the Steve Dangle Podcast. And I don't usually say welcome. It's not really, the welcome really wasn't for the listeners.
Well, it usually starts with you going,
It's true.
for some reason.
That would be weird.
You're always just so happy to start the show.
The welcome is for the Big E.
The Big E.
Leafs legend, Eric Lindros.
How you guys doing?
Good, Eric. How are you?
I'm good. I'm still just getting over the dangle. What a great handle for hockey.
It's so good, and it's completely accidental. It's actually from my high school newspaper because I don't know if you know this. I'm a nerd and a complete and utter loser. And you were a junior hockey star who I don't know. I think you went on to have a pretty good pro career,
you
right?
did okay, maybe.
Yeah.
Legion of Doom rings some bells.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Scarborough, East Scarborough, sort of at the Scarborough-Pickering border.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, but now I'm in Oshawa, and I'm just up the street from the famous Teds.
So Eric, he's really upgraded.
Shut up! You can't diss Oshawa to Eric Lindros.
He's laughing, isn't he?
How dare you?
Come on.
Okay.
I am not laughing. I am listening.
Did you or your teammates, all of age, of course, ever frequent the Tartan Tavern?
The tartan might have been on the list for sure.
Might have. That's a good hockey answer right there. It's like
weird.
that.
Might have been on the list. Yeah.
Because I've only been there a few years, and I'm always like, oh yeah, the Tartan's just down the street, and all the locals go, the Tartan. The Tartanic, and I want to know what goes on there.
Yeah. Eric, we want to thank you for making time for us. It's a Friday night. You probably do have better things to do, but we really appreciate you making time for the show anyway. You and Steve specifically, and a lot of other people obviously, are working together on the Easter Seals
Celebrity Hockey Classic.
Celebrity Hockey Classic. So can you tell us a little bit about how you got involved and why you wanted to be a part of this?
Well, I guess we started about 7 years ago. Andrew Jackson from Jackson Events, I had known him a little bit, and he approached me about doing something with the Easter Seals, and he had an idea of doing a hockey event that was had some fun with it on the night before, and had a draft party, and so he had his vision of what it was going to be, and I wanted to look into Easter Seals and see how that charity ran and its efficiencies, and I was greatly impressed with it. And after going to the camps and meeting so many of the people that are associated with Easter Seals, it's a great spot. It's a first class charity that. Really, I think we run at 82%, 82 cents on the dollar from our event gets to the kids, and I don't think many charities can speak to that. So it runs clean, and happy to be involved with it. I think it's moving along. Every year we keep getting stronger, and this year I think our goal was 400,000. The first year I think we only made about 70 or 80, but we only gave ourselves 6 weeks or 5 weeks to get things going. And every year we get stronger. We've got new ideas and some fresh blood, but the core of it all is, one, the great charity that everyone is supporting, and two, hockey and everything that is involved with it in terms of the fun games and the draft night the night before, and the socializing and being around a bunch of guys. There's a lot of storytelling, and it's just it's a great day and a half.
There are a couple stories told. It only takes one or two, and Dennis Marouk starts shouting, and I'm mostly selling his book. To make your point, we've already, I think, pretty much doubled what you raised in the first year. We're already at $143,910. It says the goal on the website is $250,000, but we're gonna beat that, right? Last year we had over 300, I think.
Yeah, no, I think I think Trevor Newell, who stepped on board and is really helping out the group, he put a level of 400 at it this year, and I think a lot of the teams kind of hold off to the end. They keep a few and kind of jockey around on draft night, having a little bit extra in the back pocket to hammer down when they want to have their pick or whatnot. So it's always fun. It's exciting. But the bottom line is we raise a lot of money. It goes to a fantastic cause. And I think, when you get to see some of the kids and what they go through, and the freedom that the camps give them, the independence, the self-confidence, it's truly a wonderful thing. And it's supporting that. It's supporting, changing the homes of those involved, and vehicles, making everything accessible for wheelchairs and whatever the case may be.
Which are like $3,500 or something. I think it was
crazy.
on the website. They're extremely expensive.
It's extremely expensive, and this is covering it. This is helping out.
Yeah.
So it's. Yeah, I mean,
Eric, it's
a great group.
It's a great group, and just to augment this great group, it's not just you involved. You've got Adam Graves, John LeClaire, Dennis Marukas, Steve mentioned, Mike Krushelninski, Tom Fergus, Ali Afraidy, Wayne Primo, Steve Thomas, Gary Lehman, Marty Turco, Nick Gantropov, Matt Barnaby, Ethan Morrow, Troy Crowder. There's so many great names attached to this, and what's so cool is that, guys like us, the regular Joes, get to come in and draft you guys.
Yeah. No, it's fun. It really is fun. And those guys, they come in Thursday night and Thursday afternoon and stay Thursday and the whole day Friday. They really go out of their way to make it a great experience for the team that they're, not just the team that they're drafted by, but everybody else in the place that's associated with the event. So hats off to those guys for being available and for coming and supporting.
And were you one of those guys, because most of the alumni last year, cause I got to play in it last year, most of the alumni sort of took it easy on like the regular Joes. Are you one of the guys who keeps it turned on, or do you tone it down a little bit? Because I know Wayne Primo and Nick Antropov especially had no mercy. None.
Yeah. No, I think, those two, it sounds like they can still really play.
Antropov was playing for a contract last year.
Yeah, he still thought there's. No, we generally speaking, I guess it depends on some teams. Some teams, I played on a couple teams where there were some younger players, and it was intense. It was these guys had practices, and they were part of it. The majority of that team was part of another team that skated all the time together. So they had they had breakouts and they were right into it. But then you get drafted by a different team and a couple of years down the way and it's more just strap them on and have some fun and just move the puck around and enjoy it. I mean, the bottom line in hockey is the best game in the world, and we're able to go out and do it, and we're doing it for a great cause.
Please tell me the team with the breakout didn't actually try to explain to Eric Lindros what to do.
Did they tell you their mean strategies?
Hey, go up the right wing or whatever.
Yeah. They didn't have the whiteboard out or the chalkboard going per se, but no, there's a great deal of communication that was. I'm saying communication, but there was a lot of yelling in my direction as to what to do.
That's amazing. Oh my
I was the new guy on the team, and I needed to learn it quick.
Oh, wow. And when was the last time you were yelled at on the ice like that? It's been a while, I'm sure.
It was just fun. We're just having a good time, and it's fun. So we try and match up. We've gotten the good thing about this is over the course of the 7 years, we've gotten to know the levels of each team, and we have conferences or divisions rather that if we got some real fast teams, we put them all together and they all play each other, and then if some of the we'll call them veteran teams or the guys are a little bit older, we put those guys together and they play against one another. So we try and keep the competition equal and have some fun. And we're able to do that knowing a lot of the teams that have come back year after year and supported.
Eric, just switching gears for a second here. I mean, you've obviously, I'm sure you still watch the games from time to time. You're obviously aware of things and how they can be here in Toronto and in other hot markets like New York and Philadelphia. And so the Leafs have lost a couple games in a row and people have lost their minds. When you're a player on the other side of that, I'm going to read you a quote today.
Sure.
At the top of the lineup, Tavares and Marner need to be more productive, even if they produced most of the scoring opportunities against the Stars. After a terrific start to the season, Tavares has been okay for the Leafs. Just okay. You don't pay $11 million for just okay. And that comes from our friend Steve Simmons.
I was just about to say, but you wouldn't have had to tell him. He played here. He knows it, Steve.
It's they're 8-5. They had a couple bumps. Their top scoring center is out, but they're still a really, really good team. You've played on teams that are good like the Leafs are currently. When you're standing on the other side of the room and you're hearing these sorts of media reports, how do you even process that, or do you at all?
If I was a Leaf, I wouldn't be processing too much of that at all. I think you look in the dressing room; they've got a good dressing room, and in any sport, in any great team. I mean, look at Boston. They didn't. I'm sure they had some stretches in there where they were 8-5, and then they ended up winning the World Series, so on and so forth. I mean, they won it from the start all the way through. Did they not?
Mm-hmm.
Stem the stern, carry the first place badge? I mean, geez. 8-5. It's still a pretty good start, and
that's what I think.
And you're doing it minus. Yeah, I mean, let's just calm down. You know what would scare me is if you're not getting chances.
Right.
That would be that if you're generating chances and they're not going in, and some nights they're not going to happen, and some nights they're not going in. That's reason to take a second glance at things. But when you're getting a lot of chances, you're going to be just fine, especially with the players that they have.
And okay, here's the harder question, and don't hate me for asking it, but I'm going to ask it anyway. You know what it's like to be at loggerheads with the team over a contract, right? Where player thinks that they want to make this much, team thinks another thing. And in your particular situation, there were circumstances that were a little different than what the Leafs are going through with William Nylander. We swore we weren't going to talk about Nylander today, but I thought you're the perfect guy to ask.
This is it.
Yeah, this is
mine was not monetarily based. So
okay,
a lot of it's completely different. I feel bad for both sides. It's this new the system of the salary cap has really made it a tough one. Where it's first, second, and third to the dinner table, right?
Yeah,
and then the rotation of who's who's finished their meal and where is there a seat available, right? So it's an interesting one. The bottom line is you hope that the Leafs can get Willem back in the lineup and that things move forward. But maybe that's more of a short-term bridge contract than something that's the 6, 7, 8 year deal.
Right. Well, and it's one of those things that, like, as fans, and I think
it's all consuming.
It's all consuming, right? Like, we've got this phenomenal hockey team, and all anybody can talk about is the one guy that's not playing for it. As a player on the outside looking in, you're rooting for your teammates, right? But it must be hard to root for the team.
I don't know. I don't know what he's thinking.
Fair enough.
I don't know what he's thinking, but it's also maybe a good time if to really assess where you're at in terms of your depth too, as well, and look at not just the offensive side of things, but what's going on in the defensive side, and in particular defensemen. Is there something there? Is there a piece there that we could? We might look at differently if we're having a tough time with Willem. I don't know. No one knows. No one's on the inside. Everyone's speculating, and it makes for a little bit of chatter. But at the end of the day, we just hope that if you're a Leaf fan, that the Leafs have the best players on the ice that they possibly can, and if they have an asset and they can't get them signed, that they're moving the asset and bettering their hockey club.
Are you allowed to call yourself a Leafs fan?
I grew up in London, Ontario, and later in Toronto. That's all we had. They basically shove it down your throat, do they not?
Yeah, well, I mean,
a little bit.
We knew you wanted to come home. Like it was great.
That's what you grew up with. You grow up with it, and I live here in Toronto. Yeah, I want the Flyers to do well, and they're doing okay.
Yeah.
They're hanging in there. But I think that a city, when the sports teams do well in a city, the city is a better place to be. I'm a big believer in that. I think there's a great vibe. You get to playoff time, whether it's the Raptors or in particular the Leafs. I mean, it's a whole new level.
It is pretty great. And yeah, the Leafs are sort of shoved down your throat here. But who was your favorite Leafs video blogger growing up? No. Very, very inappropriate.
Specifically from Oshawa.
Yeah, no, you're at the...
We didn't even have cameras on our phones going through much of junior and into the first couple of years of pro, I don't think.
No, I don't think so.
How did you live?
How did we ever get by? Actually, I think we lived quite well, to be honest with you.
Speaking of how did you live, so you're sort of at the tail end of what I think has been an incredibly spectacular year for you. Obviously getting inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame, and there was the great ceremony in Philadelphia. And the one thing I kept reading over and over again was everyone just talked about how you look so happy. And I just want to know what the past year has been like for you.
Oh, the past year's just been amazing. It truly has been great. I mean, our whole family. I mean, my wife is my kids. Everyone has had a big part in it, and we've enjoyed it. I didn't. My kids weren't around to watch me play, and I'm not sure that my oldest guy, really gets it. I went down for hometown hockey. What was it, 2 Sundays ago or something like that, down in London, and on the car ride home, he was asking me, why do people want you to sign their paper and their cards? Why do they want to have pictures? And it's kind of a weird one to explain. And I just kind of think, my wife is there. She's much smoother at these things than I. No, it's just the whole bit has just been a bit of a dream come true. I mean, it's been fantastic, and I've got great people to share it with, and it's been a lot of fun.
Well, I mean, so well deserved. And one of the things that I watched in its full was when you went back to Philadelphia, and you spoke in front of the fans, and that was just so cool. And that must have been one of those great moments in your life. Can you describe what it was like to give that speech in front of all of the Philadelphia faithful?
You get fired up for it. You really do. You get, they kind of send you out, and they called that curtain or whatever, the four-sided curtain and top, they called it a pookie. And I'd never heard that.
Never heard that either.
No.
Yeah. And when they pop that up, and you get into it, the place was just it. When you're away from a playoff game or a playoff atmosphere, or opening night, or that buzz in the stadium, you miss it. And that was the first time in many, many years that it was something similar or comparable to that feeling. It was amazing.
What do you think of Gritty?
Yeah, he took some shots early on. And it's Philadelphia's an interesting place too. I mean, Santa Claus being booed and whatnot. So it's not the easiest, even as an established personality to pop in, let alone come in as Gritty. But I think he's won them over. I think he continues to win people over, and stay with it, Gritty. You're doing a wonderful job.
Eric, we just want to say thank you so much for making time for us today. Thank you for answering the very painful questions on Nylander, which I'm sure you get asked every interview. And thank you so much for involving us in this Easter Seals initiative. We're so excited to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And if you're listening right now and you donated to any one of the three of us or anybody on the teams, thank you so much for you're really making a difference.
A special specific shout out to David Smith, who donated to Jesse just before the show. That donation actually pushed Rachel's Raiders Remix, which is our team, over the $20,000 mark.
Wow.
So thank you very much.
That's amazing, guys.
Amazing.
And Eric, once again, just thanks so much for involving yourself. You talked about the kids and the family. I was one of those kids in my family. I wasn't specifically receiving it, but it was for my sister who has cerebral palsy, and our family attended the camps, and it was such a rare chance to get out of the house as a family and have fun as a family. So, even though I suck at hockey and had never played before last year's tournament, joining was a no-brainer, and rejoining this year was a no-brainer too. I really appreciate everything you've done.
Well, it's everyone that's pulling on the same rope here, and you guys are a big part of it.
Thank you, Eric.
Thank you. I'm going to try to get you a goal this year.
And by the way, thank you for signing in Toronto too, because I really wanted the whole thing to happen for the years and years I talked about it.
I did too, but I was only there for a cup of coffee this time around. But,
I know, but
anyway.
just know that it meant a lot to the 14-year-old me. Okay, it was a huge deal.
All right, I will. I'll keep that in mind.
Thanks. You made him feel old.
Eric, thanks so much. Take care.
All right, you guys have a great night.
All right, you too, buddy.
You like my gritty question?
It was a good question.
It was good. It was pertinent. It had to be asked.
I before the show, we were like, okay, no Nylander talk. And then I'm talking, we're talking to the guy that knows exactly what Nylander is going through, probably in a different circumstance.
Yeah.
Sort of, kind of. But I was like, I had to do. But beyond that, we're done.
Yeah. I'm in a different mood today.
You're in a different mood.
From yesterday and maybe the last day's show.
Okay.
So we had our little Nylander bit. Mm-hmm. I'm done.
Yeah, I think we're done.
I have nothing else to say.
Well, there's nothing else reported.
No.
It's like and it's funny, it's almost like on a rotation. Every report is, well, now they're talking long-term. Neither side wants to do a bridge. Now they're talking bridge. Neither side wants to do long-term because they can't agree to the money. Now they're deadlocked.
I'm looking around at all the major outlets and listening to what they have to say, and I'm looking at them all like, I'm not convinced you know.
Nobody knows.
Yeah.
I mean, even Elliot was on...
Jesse came so close to dropping the camera.
Elliot Friedman was...
No, I can
you didn't need to mention that. No,
but I did.
Elliot Friedman was on Tim and Sid yesterday, and one of the things that he was talking about, he's being told that they're deadlocked again. There's nothing to talk about then, right? There's nothing to. I know we want updates and that sort of thing, but until there is an update on this show, we're done because it puts us in a shitty mood, honestly.
Yeah. You know what I like to think about, Sportsnet's had an incredible run. Obviously they own all the NHL rights. Mm-hmm. They break a lot of stuff every July 1st and every trade deadline day and stuff like that. But I always think back to when Sportsnet wasn't really the top dog. And I used to always watch the TSN trade deadline. And there was a great clip of the day, can't remember which year it was, but Cristobal Huet was traded. And
was that from Montreal to Washington? Or something?
I think it was.
Okay.
I think it was. And I just remember the trade was announced during commercial and the cameras were rolling during commercial. And everyone at the TSN desk just went, what? Like arms in the air when the trade was announced. Because they had no idea.
Right.
They just didn't know it was coming.
And they're not going to know everything. Nobody's going to know anything. Everything. That is.
I didn't see Pavel Zacha getting sent down today.
Did not see that either. That's a shocker.
That was pretty surprising. Top 10 pick. There's nothing much to say there. And as far as the game yesterday, I think I'm shouted out.
Well,
after the LFR, I'll put on a brave face for you guys, but I think I'm shouted out. I shouted my bad mood away.
Before we get to that,
I'm shouted out.
You're out of shouts.
I'm out of shouts.
Okay.
No, that's not true. I'm out of shouts regarding that. Mm-hmm. I'm sure we'll find other things.
Steve shouted himself. Is what he said.
You shouted yourself?
Hey, guys, you know what I want to tell you about?
See, I didn't grow up with an older brother, and I feel like Jesse, despite being younger, is just that asshole older brother who just is an asshole.
Jesse, if you guys were brothers, Jesse would go and play with his friends, and he'd have to bring you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? Steve
but he wouldn't.
Be...
Do you understand? Oh, friggin' Jesse, you see, Steve, you're done shouting? I bet you're not.
You know what Steve needs to be checked
What does
about?
Steve need to do? What do I need to do? I love learning every show what I need to do, Jesse. Go ahead.
Since you brought it up.
You brought it up.
You brought it up.
I brought it up.
So I have to bring this up.
You have to bring it up.
Steve, you need to be checked.
I need to be
Whoa.
checked.
Is he about to be wrecked?
Adam.
Yo.
Oh, not
This
again.
morning, the first message the two of us received from Steve Dangle today.
Okay, I can't
At
even. I was
11
so
a.m.
groggy. Let's hear it.
After Adam was up for 86 hours.
Oh my
Adam
God.
slept like 4 times today. Yeah.
4 times this month, I think.
Yeah, I'm
And-
getting
yeah,
I'm
and-
back to getting dark circles into my eyes again. Yeah.
Steve said, everyone's so negative today. And the world of Steve Dangle is that some angry people on Twitter are
Is the
apparently
world.
everyone.
Yeah.
And I just thought, I woke up, I went to work,
Were you happy?
there's nice people all around me. Went to the Starbucks.
Well, Tim and Sid revel
Got-
in the Leafs being shit.
I got a venti True North blonde roast.
I don't know what that is.
The woman
True
who
North
gave
blonde
it to
and
me,
free.
the woman who gave it to me, very happy. I don't think she was negative, but in Steve Dangle's world, everyone.
No one ever says a figurative everyone.
No, everyone's so negative.
Everyone.
That's what I like waking up to. Someone telling me everyone's so negative. The world is negative.
Yeah?
Thanks, Steve. Thank
Jesse,
you.
if you wake up at 11, you should like everything that you wake up to. How about that? How about that? Everyone's so negative. That's because they got up before
Well,
11.
I woke up. I woke up again at 11 because I woke up really early
For a
and then
second time.
and then I woke, and then I had a nice morning nap, and I woke up and I thought, I don't feel that negative.
And I had already streamed into my computer. I had already done all the streaming I needed to do.
I think you just need to recognize when like 8 angry people tweet at
Angry. Go
tweet
ahead.
at you.
Go
on
ahead with your
Twitter.
actual numbers that are real.
The world isn't crashing down. It just might be 8 angry Leafs
when
fans.
when the city of
Right.
Edmonton goes after you for saying something truthful about their team.
Adam, it's not the city of Edmonton. 1 million plus people and children. It couldn't be. So why are you? What's with this hyperbole?
Hyperbole.
Or hyperbole.
Hyperbole.
However you like to say it. What is with it? Jesse, I
don't
know
think-
you don't tolerate this sort of thing. Check him.
I don't think hyperbole is actually the word, though. I think people.
Hyperbole.
No, it's hyperbole.
Yeah.
I
I
know.
did say last episode that I do, but there are people that say that, and you go,
There
you're
are
trying to
people
sound
who
smart.
say Silesia is friggin' part of Poland or whatever you said.
It is actually part of Poland.
I'm pretty sure
Let's not,
someone said it isn't.
Well, it was.
I think
Oh,
that
well, it was. You know
that-
what it was? He checked my Silesia.
So no, what
Knowledge.
happened? So what happened was it's a little further down on the map than I thought. So Estonia is under Finland, and then
just
the
a little
region of
further
Silent.
down?
Yeah, it's still underneath Finland. It's
what is
just
wrong?
anyway.
I don't know. Nothing was wrong. I wasn't yelling 2 minutes ago. I was fine.
I just had a great interview,
I
a great
just
chat with Eric Lindros.
I don't know why you're so upset.
Because you can't let me have a thing. Any goddamn thing.
We didn't
Jesse
do
Blake.
anything.
You tried to check Steve, and then
I'm not giving you a single damn pass
Jesse's
on
eyes are
Friday.
misty right now. He's got tears in his eyes.
I just don't understand what happened in the like 4
Me
minutes.
neither. Where did it all go wrong?
I don't know.
I could have done a podcast with 2 friends.
While you
Instead
guys
I got you schmucks.
While you guys are figuring that out, I want to tell you about World of Warships.
Oh, that's great.
Play Warships 2018. That's the code. And if you want the link, it's in the YouTube. If you're watching us, click the link.
Great transition.
And you can play. And here's the thing: you're going to get 3 days of premium access. So when you're playing, World of Warships is a game that's like, if you ever wanted to be a naval commander, this is your warship game.
This is
it. So
I think Jesse's pointing at
I
something.
pointed at the link. That's where it's going to be.
there's a ton of
Where
iconic
it is.
warships that you're going to recognize.
the Campbellton.
That's right. You can modify them. It's accurate too. That's the thing. Like for a lot of like military nerds like myself, you kind of want it to be accurate, right?
Military nerds like yourself.
Well, I don't know. I've played other games before that are like, you play them and you're like, this is not realistic at all. You want to play it. You want it to be realistic. So there are a ton of people playing it. You can play them. We're going to give you 250 doubloons. We're going to give you $1 million credit, 3 days premium, an extra port slot so you can start your fleet early and big and dominate people, dominate fools online.
And not to be suck.
Not to
Have
be
you
suck.
seen the Ovechkin promo?
Well, we've been running parts of it. Yeah, isn't it sick?
I put
Do you
one in my
guys
video
watch
today.
our YouTube channel? I don't know.
Well, yeah, of course
If
we
you
watch.
check out the Steve Dangle podcast YouTube channel.
I like how you interlaid the Ovechkin footage.
Someone did watch.
I did.
Anyways,
You're good at production.
it's a pretty cool commercial.
It is. It is a very. It's almost as though they really wanted you to play this game.
Everyone loved it.
Who's everyone?
Just everyone. Every damn one, Jesse.
Play Warship 2018, or just click the link. Click the link in the YouTube thing and get in and get some premium access and have some fun this weekend. And stay off Twitter. Play World of Warships. Honestly,
It makes my mood great.
I
I have a great time every time I'm on Twitter.com.
So
my favorite app.
If we are going to talk about the Leafs last night, I think we have to start with some context, right?
Yeah, they were bad and should sell everything.
Here's the context. Actually, do you guys have?
No.
Do you guys have your headphones? Yeah,
Buddy.
Okay, so first
I've
I'm going
been
to read a
having my
tweet,
headphones.
and then I'm going to play a clip. So the first tweet comes from one Scott Wheeler, friend of the show. Leafs outchanced the Stars 17-8 tonight. Expected goals 3.7. That's for the Leafs. Stars 1.2.
Interesting. I saw something different.
So, at least according to Scott, last night at 10:50, it could have been a 4-1 game. If everything went to plan, if Patrick Marleau doesn't ring it off the post when he's got a wide open net, if Mitch Marner is able to shovel that thing home when Anton Hudobin is so deep in his net, he's basically dug himself to the other side
He
of the
could have
world.
made the save and it would have been a goal.
Yeah.
Like it could have gone in his. Oh,
Yeah.
See
so
that he said he
close.
did it on purpose?
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
What? He
Oh, I
went
missed
deep
that.
in his net.
Yeah. There's like a
Hudobin?
post game about him talking about how he intentionally did something.
Oh.
Okay, that wouldn't. Yeah, but it seemed like a bad idea.
No, but
I know it worked that time.
Did they score?
They did not on that.
The
side.
Leafs did not score.
Yeah.
It worked.
Fair enough. Here's another perspective from I think this is Dominic Gallimini. I don't have the Twitter handle on me. That sucks. Expected goals, which granted, actual goals are better than expected goals, but this is a better indication of performance. The Stars expected goals 1.01.
Okay.
The Leafs 4.29.
Wow.
They were so good. Okay,
So still
maybe
4-1,
I can
4-1.
send this to Jesse to put in the video, but look at the spike in the final couple
Wow.
minutes.
And
They
it-
went up a full goal.
And if you look at that chart, and
It's also when they were trailing. Like
It is
Yeah,
also
but
when
if
we're
you look at
trailing,
the-
but they're
look at
above them
beginning
the
of
whole game.
The whole game.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. That will happen. No disrespect to the Stars. Listen, that happens to the Leafs all the time. They get outplayed and they still win. So, the Stars
Totally.
found a way to win. You find a way to win. The Stars did that. And it's extra salt in the wound because I believe Roman Polak and was Connor Carrick playing?
Connor Carrick blocked a shot and was not playing.
That's right.
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
It's
that's like punched Marlowe in the back of the head.
yeah. Well,
He didn't mean to, but he was going for a puck and he just smacked him.
So I think that the collective panicking needs to stop. And sometimes, as we said in the last episode, sometimes you're gonna agree with Brian Burke, you're gonna disagree with Brian Burke, you're gonna say, "Hey, that's an old man perspective." Well, Brian Burke's older than you. That's why he's got an older man perspective than you. But one perspective that I said it last episode. The guy, would Brian Burke come on here and be like, "Yeah, I disagree with that"? No, he'd be like, "Yeah, no, I'm of that generation."
Yeah, but enough about hockey, guys. Let's talk about K-pop. Anyone, who's your favorite? I know mine.
The perspective he gave this morning, which was I think the best one that I've heard so far. So I want to play it for you right now. This is from Sportsnet 590 The Fan. If it will load, which it probably won't.
May or may not. I can
you
just do an
sing us
impression.
loading music?
I
I don't think it's time to panic. I would. I think.
Oh, Adam, that's your fault.
That-
Everyone is upset
So Brian Burke wouldn't panic, but there's more to this.
that it put. Yeah, I wouldn't panic. Well, that's a pretty
the clip
short
not
quote.
working?
They
It's-
put that on the website.
it's the
That's
computer.
surprising.
I don't think it's time to panic. I would. I think when you do, and I'm relatively new to TV. I think it's really tempting and easy to throw rocks when a team is struggling. And I'm not that far out of this because 6 months ago I was still doing the job, and I'm not that far out of it yet where I don't remember how frustrated I was when we would have a small slump and everyone in the media starts throwing rocks. And it's Toronto, so it's volume gets turned up twice. I'm not ready to panic yet. I still like this group. And like I say, they've had quality goaltending throughout. So that's usually
Yes.
prerequisite to coming out of a slump is that your goaltender's giving you a chance to win.
But you are like me on this, that you're out of it long enough that you can give power play tips for them to improve their power play.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what we're doing here
That's Doug McLean
is
there.
we're not being critical. We're trying to help them.
Like we're all trying to do. Doug's joking, by the way.
Yes.
To everybody that just got upset.
Doug,
Stop.
I feel like
It's okay.
people would appreciate Doug more if they realized most of the time he's just being a smartass.
Yeah, I think if you meet Doug, you feel a lot differently. Like he's just such a fun guy.
He's pretty funny.
But people are like, "Oh, he's so snarly." I'm like, "Nah,
He's
it's
like a
just
mushroom. He's
like
a fun guy.
Everyone hated that joke.
Oh, wow.
Everyone
Jesse
hated
is
that
your
joke.
grade 3 teacher. There you go, everybody. So yeah, I mean, like, listen, is it that big of a deal? No. Are the Leafs still really good? Yeah. Are they going to lose a couple games now and then? Yeah.
Yeah, that was a frustrating one, for sure. For sure. Dude, how, okay, on a 2-on-1, Tavares Marner, they both whiff on it. Like, what are the odds? What are the sheer
Tavmar.
odds? That Marleau goal, I screamed, or sorry, the Marleau no goal, the Marleau post. I actually screamed at my television, "You're lying."
What did
I was like, "Stop the play and review it."
what did the Dogs' reaction? Like, what was their reaction to
It's
your
great.
reaction?
Iggy is pure indifference. Charlie there's a fire monster. There's a monster made of fire, and he's got a gun also, and he's gonna take over the house. Charlie is
Fire monster gun.
Gunfire monster.
Can someone please illustrate what they think Gunfire Monster would look like?
Yeah.
And then show it to us on
Has
Twitter.
to be shooting at Charlie.
That's what you said!
No,
Chasing Charlie, not
but
shooting
Charlie's,
him.
No, you said.
But Charlie's wicked ripped and has pecs and is fighting him off and biting him on the arm.
Okay.
But
I'll
also
deal with
in
that.
real life, so that's cartoon Charlie. Regular real life Charlie is terrified, and every game night's bad for him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I remember playoff games being very stressful for our dog growing up.
Yeah,
Like, really stressful.
He's much better. He used to get up and bark because he's like, "All right, you're riding, I'm riding. Who is it? Let's protect this house." But Iggy's just like, "I got some sleeping to do."
Yeah.
You slept all day. I know.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, listen, it's to me, last night's game was like, well, it happens.
For me, it was shit. But this morning, it happens.
Yeah, for sure.
Last night, I made a fool of myself.
Really?
So many people were like, "Oh, you should stream," and I'm like, I like my job.
I think, yeah.
Mrs. Dangle was
I
not
think that's
approving.
I've been around you during those games, and you get like I don't think people understand how mad you get over
Yeah.
little things.
If I had to say my least favorite part of doing this for a living, it's my Saturday night between 7 and 10, no matter where I am, is paralyzed. I can't do anything, and when they're losing, I'm a grouch.
Yeah.
For like an hour.
During last year's playoffs, I remember I met you at a Boston Pizza.
Oh, I made a fool of
and
myself.
you embarrassed yourself in front of a room full of people.
Yeah.
Because you were the loudest one there while they're trying to shoot a commercial.
And who?
No, that's right. You were trying to shoot a commercial for Sportsnet.
Jesse Fuchs, I think it is,
Was it
or
Jesse
it was one of the new. There's
no, it's Caroline Sved.
yeah. Oh
was
yes,
fil- it
yes.
was-
Sorry.
who was
Caroline
filming
Sved.
the Rogers TV commercial, I think it was.
Yeah, so new host at Sportsnet. I had never met her before, and that was my first impression.
Yeah.
Is who is that crazy person yelling in the corner
While we're
he's
trying
getting
to
up,
film.
He's getting and now he's getting up and trying to say hi. Oh, it's a coworker. I made a fool of myself. I can't handle it. Leafs games, and this goes back to everyone is mad. Leafs games are so much more stressful now that they're good.
Yeah.
So much more stressful.
and
an 8-5 record is stressful.
Part of the reason why we want to have some fun today is because it's just been so not fun. The last couple of weeks have just sucked. It's just been like,
Yeah, I'm done.
And people are
a
so
little
stressed.
bit.
And it's like, as I said earlier to myself, to no one in particular, it's like literally me and the dogs in my bedroom. Or not my bedroom, my living room, and I
like,
was
well,
like, I was
Cedric.
grumpy about something, and I'm like, can you just enjoy the ride? Like, look at who's playing for this team right now. It's a phenomenal hockey team.
Also 13 games.
Yeah, exactly. Thank
Yeah.
you, Jesse, voice of reason.
13 games. And Justin Hall goofing up on the second goal, but otherwise looked good.
Is Jesperi Kotkaniemi Jesus?
Yes.
Okay.
No, he's not Patrick Laine.
I was
Patrick Laine has gone from bum to Jesus.
one game.
Patrick Laine has scored more goals in Finland than he has in North America.
That's
Wow.
amazing.
Patrick Laine is the evil witch lady from the beginning of Beauty and the Beast. And you turned me away. You did not know that I was actually a beautiful enchantress. No, Adam? Have you not seen Beauty and the Beast?
Did he show who's the daddy? Because I actually finally heard that.
Now between Barkov and Laine, are they going to see who's the daddy? Laine's the daddy. Yeah, I don't even know.
We don't get questions like that in North America.
we don't get questions like
Homer's
that.
is a great quote.
He is. Yeah.
He
You know
is.
what? And he's better now, I think, than he was when he was the Leafs coach.
No, he was pretty good as a Leafs coach.
Was he?
Dude. Look up.
I just think he's more fun now.
Yeah.
He's definitely more fun now.
They're
but
winning,
there's
so that helps.
There's Paul Hendrick. Hey there, Stevie. How you doing? And he gets asked the first question in every press conference, and he's all friendly. And this was after the Leafs got absolutely jobbed in Carolina. Like, there are some times where you go, that's a soft call. Jobbed. Like, you should have a Eugene Melnick investigation over this game. And I think a lot of Leaf fans, scarred Leaf fans, know exactly the game I'm talking about. It was an overtime loss in Carolina, I'm pretty sure. And, Paul asks his friendly question, and there's this 2 seconds that might have been 16 hours.
Because Paul always asks very fair questions.
Yeah, but Paul Maurice is just looking at the floor going, how do I not get fined $25,000?
Yeah.
And, there's a good story here. And he just calmly goes, that penalty, that was not a penalty. That was interference or whatever. But you could just see the steam coming out of his head.
Mm-hmm.
Now he seems a little bit more...
He's a little more jovial, seems to be relaxed.
But he also coaches the Jets, and they're good.
And I would be happy too.
I want to see him coach the Red Wings or something. Like, I want to see him...
No, he's done that his whole career leading up to this point. I thought we let him have the few
Let him have a good
years.
team, Steve.
You know what? You're right. Paul Maurice deserves the Jets.
He does
Right now.
He's earned
the Jets.
Yeah, Paul Murray. No one has had more, as you and Andrew Berkshire pointed out in your article a couple of years ago, more terrible goaltending shoveled his way, and somehow the guys managed to survive. There's coaches that are sunk on that and never heard from again.
Connor Hellebuck is far and away the best goalie he's ever had.
Yeah,
far and
without
away.
question. He's got a save percentage over 910.
Whoa.
Do the Jets have more stars on their team than any other team in the league? Let's try to do the math.
That's a good question.
Because they have,
Interesting.
I would say, Ehlers, Wheeler, Scheifele, Bufflin, Trouba, Hellebuck. And there's 6, I think.
Line
A. There's 7 that you count as...
Kyle Connor.
That's a tough one.
Not a star outside of Winnipeg, but still a great player.
That's a tough one because what's a star,
Yeah.
right? Like, so Line A, I would say, is a budding superstar. Like I think of like the Penguins as the team that you basically start with. So like, okay, Crosby, Malkin, Letang's there.
But you don't reach 7 guys.
Kessel's there. Yeah, but then you get like some people might refer to Jake Gensel as a star, but there's a clear gap between him and the other guys, right? So the Jets, I think, have maybe like 1A stars. Like Blake Wheeler had a hell of a season last year. He's not a superstar. You know what I mean?
wouldn't say superstar, but he's going to make an all-star team.
Like Bufflin, wouldn't call him a superstar, but he's right up there. They have so many guys who are right up there. You're right. Yeah, Ehlers. You know what they have, Jesse? A lack of bad players.
That's a good way to put it.
Generally speaking, that's a good recipe.
Probably the strongest right side on defense in the NHL.
Oh, don't tell them that.
Besides the Predators.
Don't tell them that. Ooh, besides
Man,
the Preds.
I don't know.
Who do they got? They got Yannick Weber, I think, and then Subban and...
I can't remember if it's Ekholm or Ellis.
Ellis,
Jesus.
Jesus.
Is the right-handed.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, that's pretty good. They got a good one. Bufflin's incredible. Defensive blemishes, though.
Spread over 3 guys, though. You've got Bufflin, Trouba, Myers.
Myers, I know, is the one that frustrates them a little bit. They're all guys who can create offense that have defensive blemishes.
Myers is the guy that's going to get overpaid next summer by some team.
You think so?
I don't know about that because he's already overpaid.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah. Doesn't mean he's going to get a raise, but like he will be overpaid anyway.
Yeah, but
I still like him.
Devil's advocate to what I just said, plays in the NHL. Someone's going to overpay him. You know what? Maybe you're right.
Fair enough.
Better right side, Dumba and Spurgeon.
No.
But who's the other guy?
Greg Pateryn.
Yeah, man. It's got to be.
Greg
It's got to be
Pateryn's not-
3 deep to
Greg
be the
Pateryn's
best.
not bad.
No, he's not. He's a good third pairing guy.
Yeah.
But you need better than good third pairing guy.
I was sort of holding out for Greg Pateryn to come to Toronto actually this summer.
Oh, were you?
Yeah, I was like, he would be okay, but we got
And who was
Ozhiganov.
the guy from the Islanders that you were riding so hard?
He's in Carolina now.
Calvin DeHaan.
Calvin DeHaan.
DeHaan and Greg Pateryn.
Now,
It would have been fun. People laugh. I would have been good
Laughing
with
right
that.
now.
let me say the voice boxes of everyone
Calvin DeHaan.
screaming right now. The Sharks.
Oh,
The answer is the Sharks.
on the right side?
Yes, Carlson, Burns, and doesn't matter.
Carlson's not a righty, is he?
Yes, he is.
Left-handed shot.
No, he's not.
You're a left-handed shot.
I'm a right-handed
Face
shot.
is a
That's why I know all the
left-handed shot.
right-handed shots in the league. Damn
Your
it.
mom's a left-handed. No, I don't
Is
know.
that what happens when you lost the
What side
argument?
my mom
Yeah,
shoots
what
on.
side? You're not sure.
I assume right.
Well, when I'm
Eric Carlson plays right D.
Ah.
It's Brent Burns, Eric Carlson, and Justin Braun. Or Tim Heed.
Oh, yeah, Tim Heed. Take heed.
That's
How
a
are you
person
saying,
I've-
oh, yeah.
Because he scored against the Leafs last year.
By the way,
In what game? On what day?
It was in San Jose.
I was
On
just
what
going to
day?
bring
Patrick
that up.
Marleau's returned to
On what
San
day?
Jose. It was relatively early in the season. I want to say November.
I was just going to
November
bring
what?
this. Oh,
14th. Look it up.
All right.
by the way, I was going to bring up. You were.
I'm
by the
sure
way,
I'm wrong,
That Brendan Leipzig game that you were talking about. You were absolutely right about that. Somebody looked it
I know.
up. And that was Brendan Leipzig's first hockey game in the
I know,
NHL.
dicks. I know.
So fucking amazing. You can't. Okay, before the show today, full
Yeah,
disclosure.
I know what I can't do, and that's
Steve-
most things, but I can do this, damn it.
Steve-
That's all I know.
Jesse-
I'm Vincent Kennedy, goddamn it, man.
I'm having a coffee, and Steve's like, "Oh, we're gonna talk to Eric Lindros right at the top of the show." I'm like, "Yeah, I know, really excited about it. Got some great questions for him, or whatever." And then Steve's like, did they send me his number?" So we're like,
No, they had not.
They hadn't, but he
No.
called you, and we got the number.
Yep.
So now we had it, or then we had it, but we didn't even know how we were gonna talk to him.
The Leafs and Sharks played on October 30th.
You
were close.
It was 2 weeks off.
That's weird.
It was a
not bad.
it was a spooky game.
And they lost. They did poorly.
That was spooky.
They
too.
got severely outshot.
I don't know why everybody hates on San Jose's camera angles. I actually think you can see the ice better on San Jose. Everybody hates on them because theirs is so different than everybody else's. I know, like Wyshynski and Merrick used to hate San Jose
It
games
just
for that.
feels like they
I like
got
it.
basement lighting.
They do have basement lighting, but the angles are good.
Like seldomly used basement lighting.
yeah,
You know
Are
what
you
I
talking
mean?
about the cameras in the SOP Center?
is that what it's called?
SOP
Stop.
Center. It's the SAP Center.
Where are you heading tonight? Stop, bro.
Going to the SAP, bro.
SOP
Why have
Center.
they not made T-shirts? If that was our center, we would have T-shirts made.
What fools! What idiots! They did not take heed.
They didn't take our spa day recommendations.
What a bunch of saps!
That's good.
It's good.
I know.
It's good. You know, it's funny.
I got game dates and puns.
When it's actually
nothing
good,
else.
like,
Nothing.
when a pun's actually good, there's just like followed by silence. You're like, oh, yeah. There's like a silent appreciation. Where when it's really bad, there's like this huge no, you can't. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
So,
I know what you are saying.
so back-
Kotkaniemi.
Kotkaniemi. Jesus.
Holy shit.
By the way,
Okay.
okay.
Are you also distracting from again?
Well, no. Here's the thing. I'm puzzled by the narrative in Montreal. I'm puzzled by it. Not because I'm not happy for Max Domi, who seems to have really found a really good niche to start the season as a second line center, which honestly, people were like, well, I don't know if he's, for whatever reason, they never played Gouch there. They believe that Max is that guy, and it seems like he's proving it, which is awesome.
yeah.
That's great news.
It's weird when you give a guy a chance at something.
Strange, isn't
Yeah,
it? Strange.
They should have tried it years ago.
Yeah. Anyway, with Kotkaniemi, he scores his first 2 NHL goals. And what I find crazy about the narrative about it is that they're like, oh my God, he's been so great. And he has.
He's played very well.
He's played extremely well. But
lack of luck.
I think it is lack of luck. But there was no, has Jesperi Kotkaniemi hit a wall article. Do you know what I mean? There was no, well, he went and it's like in Toronto, it's your top line center went an entire month without scoring a goal. In Montreal, it's This 18-year-old kid just scored his first 2 goals. How great is that?
In November.
Yeah, in November.
And nobody's writing the November part.
Yeah. Now, he has been really great. I'm not trying to take that away from him. The narrative part, I'm interested in, and I'm trying to figure out why.
Okay, so I think I have a few reasons. One, Matthews scored 4 goals in his first damn game.
Okay. Not just Matthews, though, like Laine. Laine scored 3 goals to start the season, and oh my God.
Yeah, and he was incredible. Kotkaniemi had a great preseason, and that's different, right? Mm-hmm. And it's a little bit different.
So did Ty Ratty.
Yeah.
He's back in the lineup tonight.
He is.
In the next game. Do they play tonight?
Yeah.
He's back in the lineup.
Guaranteed
Ty
Hattie. Ratty for the Hattie. Here it comes.
From McDaddy.
Whoa. I think we're done with this pattern.
With this great Pateran.
And his line mate, Nuge Daddy.
No.
So Kotkaniemi played really well. So I think they're smart enough hockey fans that they watch and they're like, well, he's fine. He's fine. Yeah. And he doesn't have to score every game. He's not going to. The goals are going to come. I know they are. And the reason they sort of talk that way, I think, is because Kotkaniemi is in some ways the embodiment of this team right now. Not Domi, not Gallagher, not any of the grit guys. It's Kotkaniemi. Not because he's fast and young.
Which he is.
Yes. He's hope. He's hope, not just hope, defiant hope. Matthews there's nothing defiant about the first overall pick. I guess if there's a major debate as to who should go first or second, there were some people saying Laine. For the most part, it was Matthews. Kotkaniemi, the meme with him the second he was picked was that lady going, what?
Yeah.
That he wasn't picked.
That he wasn't Zadina.
Yeah, that ended up being his billet parent, apparently. Yeah, and that it wasn't Zadina. Oh,
that
yeah,
was it? That's his billet parent?
No, sorry, it was Zadina's. You're right. No, I had that.
So that's Zadina's billet parent. I didn't know that.
Supposedly, and Jesse, you might want to look that up and make sure I'm not wrong.
I won't. I will let you swim in this.
Great. Good. I'm glad.
I can't wait for
Everybody is waiting with bated breath.
Well, no, hold on. They're off drying their fire monsters with guns.
Yes. Exactly. With giant pecs. So anyway, so not only is there reason to hope for the future, but this guy was the right pick. I think there's a reason Jets fans are so big on the Line A better thing. And Leaf fans are because it's definitely the Jets fans pulling the weight on that.
Sure.
Because their guy was number 2.
Yeah.
They should be. Why are you going to be a dick and be like, we were right at picking Matthews first? There's no fun in that. There's something more fun in going, our guy who you picked after your guy, or we picked after your guy,
is better than your guy.
Better than your guy. Scored a hat trick to win the game in overtime in his first game against your team. We were right. You were wrong. Screw you, big Toronto City. So there's that angle. There's definitely that angle. There's less of that with Montreal, but Kotkaniemi is defiant hope. Now, Domi he has some of the same attributes, but they were resistant to the trade at first. Mm-hmm. Some fans were like, holy shit, we got Max Domi, that's pretty good. But a lot of fans were not only skeptical of Domi, but upset that Gauch was traded. So it was a bit of a perfect storm. So that's maybe why his start isn't getting quite the recognition it should be. And why they're so big on Kotkaniemi, despite the fact that he just scored his first 2 goals.
Well, and they should be big on both, right? I mean, it's great.
They should be.
I don't want to take anything away from those players. I hope that wasn't misconstrued. I just thought I was just surprised, the amount of times I've heard about Kotkaniemi, I hadn't realized that he didn't score yet. I didn't know.
Dude, me neither.
And I was like, oh, those were his first 2 goals? I knew. It's him and Pettersson, and it's and you hear those 2 names come up all the time. Now, they're exciting and they're young, and that's great.
Pettersson's stupid good.
He is.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. It's crazy. And it's fun for it. Honestly, he's the reason to watch if you're not a Canucks fan, he's the reason to watch the Canucks every night. Anytime you see the Canucks playing, and you're like, I got chores to do, take your laundry and fold it on the couch and watch Pettersson play.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Stop what you're doing when he's on the TV.
People be complaining about Kotkaniemi if Montreal wasn't a point out of first in the East? and 7-3-2.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
they would
If they were bad, I think
Yeah.
people would complain. Right.
They'd be talking about
And
sending
he's
him
not even
back.
scoring.
They'd be talking about sending him
They're
back.
almost winning the East.
Yeah.
So
Which is bananas.
Yeah.
And hey, Carey Price's team is doing well. You don't say. That tends to happen.
Well, and it's nice to see, and it's funny when that Gouch trade happened. I wonder if it kind of let a little bit of the negative air out of the room, and that's not because of Gouch, but because of the situation. Sometimes you come to a point where
It only took like 4 guys.
well, yeah,
to get traded.
But like when those guys were all Gouch seemed to be the last of those guys that for whatever reason management just didn't like. And it was very obvious that they didn't like him. Whoa, I almost hit myself in the face with my
Good
mic.
Patches.
Patches, too. You're
Patches.
right.
I
Good
think
point.
that was the big one. Yeah, Gouch was a big one.
Patches was the big
Patches
one.
was the final boss. And I've heard a lot of Habs fans complimenting Tatar, which is great because he's almost come in a similar way, and this is a compliment to how Lupul came into Toronto. Don't remember the way Lupul left, which was terrible. But he was a cap dump in that trade. Lupul was a cap dump. He wasn't supposed to get re-signed to more money than he was making, but he earned it. He was a damn all-star. And Tatar, with everything that he does well, is almost like found money. That trade was the pick in Suzuki. And now they have the pick in Suzuki in waiting, and Tatar's been producing.
It's interesting with Tatar because even though at the time, I still think Vegas should have just whatever that extra piece was to get Karlsson, they should have just paid it.
Well, and you look at
They
what
should've
he
just
ended
paid it.
up costing, dude.
Oh yeah, come
Yeah.
on.
I regret ever defending even a bit of that. Yeah.
But who cares? At the time, it's the time,
No,
right? But
every day I
every
get up
day you
and-
get up, and that's why everybody's so negative.
Everyone hates me for it.
But when it comes to Tatar the player, even though a first, second, and a third to Detroit, which I believe was the price that
First,
Vegas
second,
paid,
third.
is way too much for him. Good for Detroit though. I was surprised that he didn't fit in there. I was really surprised. Like he was a scratch most of the playoffs, wasn't
They
he?
didn't really give him much of a shot.
No,
to fit in there.
So I was wondering. I was interested in that because I thought, okay, he's been a good player in Detroit. Is it that he's good because Detroit's bad, or is it because he was
good when they were good.
He was good when they were good for sure. But I'm like, has he tailed off a little bit because the team sucks and he looks good relative to the team, but he's still not performing at the height that he could be? I don't know. There's a bunch of different questions and different factors that can play into a player's production and the way they look on the ice. And then I thought, okay, when Gerard Gallant looked at him, or obviously Gerard Gallant looked at him in practice and said, I'm not playing this guy.
Yeah.
And I would be surprised that I would love to know the story behind there. We'll never know. But George McPhee must have called Gerard Gallant and said, what do you think about Thomas Tatar, right?
I think there's a lot of disconnect between GMs and coaches in the NHL. You see it too often. I think it happened with the Leafs with Frank Corrado. Like, they claimed him off waivers, and Babcock goes, and what am I supposed to do with this?
Yeah. It was just an asset move.
Josh Leva.
Well, he was at least a draft pick.
Josh Leva, to his credit, and by the way, just making this about the Leafs, has actually turned into like a fourth-line player,
Yeah.
which, that's how
I don't think we should be surprised.
Yeah.
I think
No.
that's what we expected.
I'm surprised
but
that he's even that.
There were
Are you?
nights.
Yeah.
There were nights where Babcock mercifully put him in the lineup, or someone got hurt, and he was out there. He was out there trying to score goals, and he wasn't in there working hard, and he wasn't back checking, and he wasn't grinding. And Babcock, for all his blemishes, he gets to make all the decisions. Levo is now a grinding bottom of the lineup type of player who also happens to have an otherworldly shot that he doesn't use nearly enough and whiffed on the puck.
And he's
the
getting
other
power
night.
play
It
time.
drove me nuts.
From time to time, anyway.
We were talking about Tatar before that?
Yeah. So when and how he's found new life in Montreal, which is cool.
It is cool. I don't know what his underlying numbers are, and that was, the big knock on him, sort of. Oh, yeah, we were talking about, how, Vegas didn't use him. I don't know. I think GMs are on the phone so much with their own management staff and with other teams' management staffs that sometimes they forget to talk to the coach.
Yeah, and I wonder.
And the coach is busy. You're talking about the two busiest people on the team who have so much other shit to worry about.
But if you give up a first, second, and a third round pick for a guy and your
better
coach
be sure.
doesn't play him, That's a call you want to make.
You better be sure.
And if it's on trade deadline day, I'm calling Gerard Gallant and going, listen, Gerard, for whatever reason we can't get Karlsson, we could get Thomas Tatar. Are you interested?
Well, his boss is ownership, and they made the Stanley Cup final.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think they give a shit.
No, probably not.
I don't think they care.
Yanni Gourde gets a great deal for a guy who, honestly, how can you not root for Yanni Gourde?
Easy. I am a fan of a divisional rival.
Ah, well, yes. But as the fact that he's an older guy, 26, 27.
26.
And that, he made it to the NHL late and worked hard all the way up. And apparently Kyle Dubas was a huge fan of his when he took over at the Leafs in 2014 and was a guy that apparently the Leafs I've heard the Leafs pursued trying to get Yanni Gourde, and for whatever reason it didn't work out. Now, whether or not that would have had anything to do with Kyle being the man at the time or not.
That drives me nuts.
But that was a guy that he was a huge fan of.
You know what that reminds me of, and a lot of people are going to hate this, being associated with Kyle Dubas. The scene in Moneyball when what's his face, who's taken from Cleveland, whatever Jonah Hill's character is, I forget his name.
Oh, I forget too.
He's
Jonah Hill's character.
Yeah, he's talking about Kevin Youkilis. He's like, oh, the Greek god of walks. Like, just, I wish we could have him, but Boston got him. Yanni Gourde, like, I'm just, wherever he's from, god of Corsi.
Tampa's going to have to trade some of these guys, right?
Well, I think first off, Yanni Gourde, $5.16 million.
We're at this annual conversation.
The only
Wait, are you saying that Tampa has a problem because they're paying a bunch of really good players?
Yes.
Should we be criticizing them for this? All the time, every day? I think we should.
Well, if you look at the deals they've got people on,
That's how I've been told.
The Kucherov deal is going to make things hard. I think that
You're right. They shouldn't have paid him. He's a bad player.
No, I don't.
Oh, check the notes. He's a good player.
Guys.
What?
They've got 9 guys right now signed next year that are going to make more than $4.4 million.
They have $50 million, but now they've got a lot of UFAs on defense, which is also kind of scary.
I was just about to say, outside of Ryan McDonough, they got nothing.
Hedman's on IR, but he's going to count on that defense list.
Oh, never mind. Outside of their 2 best ones, they got nothing.
But their projected cap hit for next year is $72 million.
That's incredible.
But they need to fill like 3 or 4 spots, which isn't
more
bad.
than that.
Yeah.
Then you fill 1, 2, 3, 4,
so here's
5,
what I would
6,
say.
7. Then you fill 8 spots and they have $7 million.
That Vasilevsky contract is low-key unreal.
You have
3.5.
You have 2 bad deals on that team. The 2 bad deals are Ryan Callahan and Alex Killorn. And Alex Killorn is, even though he's got a no-trade clause, is movable. You can move guys with a no-trade clause. I don't think you can move Ryan Callahan. I don't think that that's possible. I think you either, if you can't make it under the cap, and this is a guy that they love. He's an assistant captain. Like he's a character guy. He was the captain of the Rangers. Like this is not a guy that you want to jerk around. But at $6 million or 5.8 that he's making per year, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they just can't afford him.
You can't, and so that's a potential buyout candidate, I would think.
Ooh, I don't know about that. I think that is he might have to be.
Like if nobody will take him.
Maybe a sweeten the pot guy that you trade at the draft. Or Killorn, or maybe
maybe a team like
the cap doesn't apply to Tampa. The new Blackhawks.
That's true.
The cap eventually applied to them, by the way, but after they won 3 cups.
I wonder if Ryan Callahan's a guy that a younger upstart team kind of wants to have around for a year that helps define culture. So if you look at
maybe it's salary retained.
Yeah, like think about like the Coyotes
He's
or
only got 1 year left.
Or I always say the Coyotes. Maybe I just think about like if you could trade him. Maybe Vancouver picks him up for a year, salary retained. Like he's a character guy. Montreal, character guy.
They got a bunch of cap space. Love that grit. That hashtag grit
he'd
chart.
Be perfect for them.
Right next to Andrew Shaw.
Yeah.
Andrew Shaw, Byron.
Max Domi. And hey, man, they're a tough team.
They are.
Little, but they're tough.
So yeah, good for them. And it's, of course, this goes back to how does this affect the Leafs? I mean, I hope that the Leafs figure out a way to get their players to buy in a little bit like this. Yanni Gourde is not Nylander, is not Marner, is not Matthews, or Gardner for that matter, because Gardner's up too. But he is a pretty key piece to that team, and I wonder how Toronto's gonna going to work this. I really do.
I would like to see. It's interesting. So it's Friday, November 2nd, as we record this. The Marlies are playing their first game since October 26th, and the Leafs are still a guy short.
Mm-hmm.
And the Marlies better win tonight. Jesse, I would love to know the out-of-town scoreboard.
Why must they better win?
Because if you play a kick-ass game, might be your call. I mean, your body of work is going to speak for you a lot better than this one game.
I am surprised they haven't called someone up.
Yeah, and there's going to be a lot of guys maybe playing not to get hurt. Trevor Moore, maybe don't block a shot with your hand, sort of thing. Because that fourth line just, it's just.
At least it's not a liability. It's still an upgrade over what it was.
It's not a liability. No, it's an upgrade on most fourth lines. But the thing about the Leafs this year was supposed to be their fourth line even was dangerous.
And it would be if Parlinholm and
Yes.
Levo and
So there's that.
Ennis were back there, right?
Yeah.
Or Janssen was playing the way he
it's
should.
Goat. It's a Goat Ennis Levo. But, Ennis, you sort of got with the understanding that he was going to take a few games off. Call someone up, give him a few games off.
It was 5-3 at one point.
For who?
It was 4-2 for the other team, not the Marlies.
Oh, dear.
And then the Marlies came all the way back and they tied it at 5-5. It's the end
Wow.
of the second. So there you go. So you got third period to play, and it's 5-5 Marlies and the other team.
Can you look up, I don't want to spend too much time on this, but can you look up the Marlies goaltending stats for this year? They have been poor. They've been very bad. They went from having 2 of the top 10 goalies in the league, including the goalie of the year, to an ECHL guy in
Who
Jeff
was that?
Glass.
Who was the goalie of the league?
Garrett Sparks and Calvin Pickard. Pickard, by the way, has struggled in Philly.
17-18.
As
regular
have all the
season.
other Philly goalies.
Goalies, that's not this year. 18-19 regular season. McAdam currently has only played one game in 13 minutes, sorry.
Oh, so he came in relief.
Yeah.
So don't even worry about him.
He had 6 saves.
Ooh.
So he made 6 saves on 6 shots. He has 1,000.
Oh, I thought you were saying he had a 66 save percentage. I'm like,
6 shots faced, 6 saves.
Oh,
very good.
Very good. I'd watch him be the starter tonight.
Jeff Glass has played 8 games. He has an 873 save percentage.
That is
876, sorry.
Well, yeah, you got to give him those extra 300s because that's pretty bad.
8-7, yeah. And then Katsuki Swell has played 4 games and has an 860.
That was bad, and then he got hurt.
Their fourth goalie, Empty Net, has allowed 2 goals on 2 shots.
They're going to waive him.
I think Empty Net might be the call-up
No.
to replace Garrett Sparks.
I think so.
He would be the first ever NHL player called up from Silesia.
Stop it.
Would he?
Yeah, he would be.
Would he be the first?
Leo Comrade was the first from Estonia,
Ah.
and Empty Net would be the first Silesia.
If you are...
He has. Is it a perfect save percentage if it's 0?
No, it's the opposite of that.
But it's perfect. It's 0, 0, 0, 0. Infinity times 0.
No, it's just round. That doesn't mean it's perfect.
No, perfect is...
Everyone agrees with me.
You make one save. You make one save.
Well,
then
he has
then
been-
it's 1,000.
Well, Empty Net 0.
Which is actually
career
just 1.
saves.
I know we call it 1,000, but it's really 1.
Yes,
This is
because
the
we
whole one.
actually work in the negative. No, that doesn't make sense. I'm doing this incorrectly. We work from 0 to 1 when we're talking about save percentage.
Yeah.
Press
Yes,
conference
that's what I was
question.
trying to say.
Who's listening high right now?
It's Friday
And
night.
how are you doing?
And it's Friday night and it's legal in Canada.
Yes.
Even though you can't really buy it anywhere. Like, that's the weirdest part.
The
is, like,
internet.
where are you supposed
We're
to buy
really
it?
worried about the legalization of this and how it's going to work out. And let's make it mail only.
Yeah.
We're just going to mail weed around the country by the bushelful, and it's going to go fine.
There are a ton of dispensaries that are illegal, but no one's raiding them anymore. And there's one near us. So we picked up a bunch of like edibles, and they're sitting in our fridge right now.
Oh, really?
And they're just sitting there. Like, it's funny. Like, as soon as it becomes legal, you're like, oh, it's kind of the fun sort of taken out of it, right? Like, it's like, oh, this isn't badass
Goes back
anymore.
to you in high school, man. We had this school.
Time for meth.
Time
It's
for that.
illegal.
You're right. You're right.
And why stop at doing it? Make it. You've seen Breaking Bad. It could be very lucrative for you there, Adam
For sure.
Wild.
Yeah.
Get out of the real estate market and into meth.
No.
You could
the
use
line
one of your
is-
real estate ventures as your lab.
You're right.
It's not. It's out of the real estate business and into the empire business.
Oh.
Remember when he said that line?
Yeah.
He was telling Jesse in the last season, he's like, I'm not in the meth business. I'm in the empire business.
Adam just found a new method to make some money.
Oh.
Also, stay the hell away from meth, everybody. That's super messed up. But Adam in high school, we had this like class vote. It was like, should the drinking age be lowered? And we were all 17 going on 18, and we're like, of course it should be.
Yeah. If I can get drafted to the Army, I should be able to take a drink.
Exactly. That's what we all said. And Adam was one of like, I don't know, you might have been the only student to say no. And I went,
Why did I say no? I can't
And
remember.
your words, and I quote, was, it'll take all the fun out of it. Half the fun of drinking is that I shouldn't be able
I gotta
to do
be
it.
a rebel. No, just have fun.
That was
man.
him.
I was
He's
a
a
kid that
different
mostly
dude.
followed the rules, so for me, like any sort of rebellion was really fun.
Yeah, Jesse, he wore leather pants.
I see nothing has changed.
Nothing's changed. No, I'm pretty straightforward.
He wore leather pants and gave no shits.
right.
I'm tough in my leather bag.
Yeah.
Oh, he was so tough right now with his braces in grade 12 because he didn't get them earlier.
Because my teeth didn't stop falling out till grade 10.
What?
Yeah.
That's weird.
My grade 9 hockey
'cause of
picture,
all the
I'm
meth.
missing like a
Sorry.
canine. I'm missing a, it's called the meth.
I don't know how we got here.
What's the next topic?
This is the last topic, don't worry. Columbus. Everybody's talking about Panarin.
Weed.
The guy that I would really want to talk about is Bobrovsky.
Okay.
Bobrovsky's a guy that, from what we understand, wants
Should be traded for Mike Smith and a first and... Sorry.
Carey
Let's
Price
not
money.
talk about that.
That's not... Why? Did that go well today on the social media there, Jesse?
Who said that?
Didn't go well. We'll talk off the air.
Oh. Carey Price, you see, apparently wants like a Carey Price type deal.
Oh, he wants $10 million.
Hey, how many Vezinas has he won? Just the one, or is it like last year he was in the running?
Jesse, can you look that up?
Was he not in the running last
What
year?
were we looking at?
How many times has Sergei Bobrovsky won and been nominated for the Vezina? I think
it's-
he's been nominated 3 times.
And it
won
sounds
once.
like Jarmo Kekalainen, who is a tough SOB, and you know what? I respect him. I respect the man.
I do too. I thought his team sucked. And it doesn't anymore.
Vezina numbers. So he has been nominated 1, 2, 3, 4 times.
Wow.
These are just receiving votes. So
Remember when Philly had him?
he's won it twice in 2012-13 and then in 16-17.
I knew there was a recent one. I knew it.
So, yeah.
Can you also...
He has 2 Vezinas.
Yeah.
Can you look up the Sergei Bobrovsky trade?
Yeah, let's look at that. But in the
It's
meantime,
good.
while he's looking at that up,
Yes.
if you're Columbus, you got a 2-time Vezina winner who, when he sucks, coaches get fired. When he's great, he wins a Vezina.
Boy,
Do you...
talk about a goalie of extremes.
Do you I don't think like Carey Price, as much as he's been injured or whatever, you can't really help that. Carey Price is always pretty consistent. He's always pretty great. Unless he's hurt. Bobrovsky seems to be, you don't know sometimes. I mean, there are most of the time Bobrovsky's a pretty damn good goaltender. He's a highway robbery type guy. Plays crazy. He's fun to watch. Is that the kind of guy you give $10 million to? Because that's apparently what he's asking. Actually, 10 plus, because you always ask for more than you actually want. And if not, does it make sense? Because apparently he's starting to come on a little bit. Like he started a little wobbly, but has come on the last couple
Making
games.
some saves.
That's a guy potentially you could get a huge return for. Somebody like the Flyers, somebody like Calgary. Think of any team that needs a goaltender right now, and you have an opportunity to give up a Vezina caliber goaltender. Do you, if you're Columbus, go, okay, maybe this isn't our year. Maybe it's not. So if this isn't our year, then we trade Panarin and Borovsky. If we think this is our year, then we go all in with those guys on the team.
Yeah.
I don't know how Columbus views this year. I don't think they view this as an all-in year, and I don't think Kekalainen thinks that way. So I wonder if Columbus is one of those guys that actually takes and I would love for a GM to do this, for a GM to have the stones to pull this off, where they actively go, it's a retool year, even though we're good.
Yes, and that I think is the right move, actually.
I think
that's what they should do, because they're not...
They're good, but
Could
are they great?
make the playoffs? Yeah.
They will.
Could they win a couple rounds? Yeah.
Yeah.
Could they win the Stanley Cup? Yeah. I mean, if you win a couple rounds, sure. There's all sorts of variables. Is that likely? I don't think so. And you could get a big old butt ton for Bobrovsky and for Panarin. And I think it's
set yourself up for the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, if you're smart about the trades, like I don't think you can afford to be a team of extremes here. I think there's an opportunity to make a really good hockey trade here. Maybe you get a guy who's not quite Panarin, but he's also very good and makes less money and has some term. And you get something extra.
So you Brandon Saad it.
Well, yeah, but that turned out poorly. It doesn't always turn out poorly.
Yeah, well, maybe you get a younger guy from a team that has for a Panarin.
Yeah. Like, who's got 2 years left?
You know who makes a lot of sense at the trade deadline for Panarin? Winnipeg.
Okay.
Winnipeg makes a lot of sense to me. Got a good young talented pieces they could give up that are not where you're not subtracting from the roster, right?
Okay.
And then they've got all their picks and that sort of thing, and they just get them for the playoff run. Imagine a team with Laine and Panarin on the power play.
It's
terrifying.
Interesting, because what's so boring is like what happened with Karlsson. So wherever he goes, there's got to be like a contract extension involved. It would be more fun to see some team just go, screw it.
Let's go.
We're going for it. We got Panarin. We're going to outscore all of you. It would be fun to see that, but we might see. I'm excited to see a trade that is not just really good guy for futures. And I think Blue Jackets fans would like that as well.
Well, they've done that before. Ryan Johansson for Seth Jones.
Which I think
Great
the
trade.
Blue Jackets clearly won.
Yeah.
Clearly won. Trying to think of some other trades they made. I feel like they have another one in there. Oh, do you have the Borovsky trade?
I do.
Oh, let's hear it.
I do.
I forgot he was a Flyer.
Dangle.
He was the Flyer in net during the Winter Classic game that Bobrovsky got famous for. And Bobrovsky didn't end up even playing in it because he was in a slump. Bobrovsky was the goalie that they used.
Wait a second. That didn't make any sense.
Anything you're saying.
That
doesn't
Put this in context. I have no idea what you just said.
The Flyers, when they were in the Winter Classic, and Bobrovsky was on the Flyers, and he was saying, "Oh, humongous big" and all that. When he got big for that,
I don't know what that is. What is that? Okay, no, go explain the
Are
whole
you
story.
serious?
Yeah, the whole story. I've forgotten, man. Jesse doesn't either.
No, he was big because he had some quotes in the media.
Yeah, when he was with the Flyers, which I thought was implied.
And then that was when those guys at the other network did, "You're off the case, Bobrovsky."
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And Bobrovsky was the backup to then starter Ilya Bryzgalov, who then lost it, and Bobrovsky played in the outdoor game.
You didn't explain that at all.
Maybe too much of it was in my head. I'm sorry. I thought a lot of it was implied.
You remember it so vividly that you could just gloss over everything.
Yeah, my bad.
You're like, oh, this is clear to everybody.
My bad.
People sometimes accuse us of over-explaining things, and that's because you got to bring everybody up to speed, right? You can't. You have to sometimes do that. So anyway, so that's what happened. So he was the goalie.
Yes.
And did he take over during the game?
No, he started the game. Bobrovsky was like having tea on the bench. Because Bryzgalov was having tea on the bench.
Those two are nuts. Okay, so trade.
It was a second, a fourth, and a fourth in the next year. You want to know who those guys turned out to be?
Please.
Yes.
So,
Claude Giroux.
The first pick was the second round pick was 45th overall in the 2012 entry draft. Anthony Stolars, a goalie out of Edison, New Jersey. And he is currently playing for the Lehigh Valley Phantoms in the AHL.
Still with the organization?
Yeah.
I want to say he was hurt to start the season, so I'm not going to be too judgy on him.
But yeah, he's been in the AHL since
2012.
being drafted. And yeah, he's played 7 games in the NHL for the Flyers. He got a cup of tea, but nothing else.
What about the fourth
He's
round?
good in those 7 games, though. 9-2-8.
Yeah.
Jeez.
But he clearly hasn't been good enough to crack lineup. How do you pronounce his last name? Lear?
Taylor Lear, yeah.
Taylor Lear.
That's not a good sign if you can't pronounce the name.
He's got 55 games with the Flyers. He's still in the organization, still in Lehigh Valley. But yeah, he's only played 55 games, 7 points. He was 4th round pick in 2012. And then the other pick.
Which is unfortunate because, like, all things considered for a 4th round pick, not that bad. But because of the trade that we're talking about, we're like,
And then the final pick was a 4th-round pick. I guess eventually the Flyers traded away to Los Angeles, who drafted him the next year, and it's Justin Auger.
I would say Auger.
Auger? No, he's from Kitchener.
Or Auger, I don't know.
Anyways, he's currently down in the ECHL. He's played 2 career NHL games.
Okay, can you look up who he was traded for? Because what if it's like Claude Giroux? I just think that'd be amazing. The show was going so well, and then I was like, hey, let's write a trade tree on the air.
Yeah.
Let's do that. It'll be fun.
Well,
let's look up this ECHL player and who he was traded for.
So if you're Jarmo Kekalainen right now and you're looking at your team, and by the way, I mean, if you look at the standings, they're 3rd in their division. You would expect that, the Islanders are 2nd in the division, which is wild. Who knows what it'll look like by the end of the year? But I expect them to not be a wild card team. I expect them to be 2nd or 3rd in the division with the Caps and the Pens.
I read on Twitter today, and forgive me, I forget who it was, but the Islanders have far and away, I think it was far and away, the best PDO in the entire NHL.
Oh.
And therefore most likely to probably crash.
Yeah, we said that about Vegas all last year, so we'll see.
Yeah, but
Vegas was on a PDO bender.
They were on a PDO bender sort of at the end, but for most of the year, they were actually not that bad. The Islanders are 105 right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're stupid high.
So I would expect Columbus to make the playoffs, but if you're Jarmo Kekalainen, do you just kind of go, okay, sometimes it's best to step back from the yellow tape, see if I can grab some futures, or maybe I'll make a hockey trade, as Steve said, and maybe you do pick up a goalie who's 5% not as good, but also has some term on his contract, and you pick up a player that makes your team better, and that makes up for that 5%.
Can I maybe bring up another goalie who is definitely not as good, but he might be available?
Okay,
Mike Condon. Now I bring him up because the curious case of Mike Condon. He allowed the world's shittiest goal to Derek Stepan. Did we talk about this last show?
I think we did. We mentioned it, but I don't think we focused on it too much.
He got lit up and put on waivers. That was the last thing he did. And then he got put on waivers. Mike Augello, Mike in Buffalo, sent this tweet 2 days ago. And I had forgotten this. Leafs were interested in Mike Condon 2 years ago, coming off a great season in Ottawa when he stepped in for Craig Anderson, but he chose to re-sign with the Sens. He has another year at $2.4 million after this season, so Toronto will likely not put in a claim, which they did not. No one did. Also, that was Lou. Who knows if the rest of the management team were interested. But what was real interesting is he got waived, and then I saw he didn't get sent down. I don't think he's been sent down.
I think it was just the ability to send him down if they needed to.
And then I saw something very interesting, and I think a lot of people missed it because I think it was early in the morning, and it got deleted.
Oh.
But your boy got the screenshots. Where is it? Let me bring it up. Let me find it here. I believe it was Leah Kessel with the quick screenshot. Someone from TSN was talking about Condon and how he got waived and everything. And someone tweets, "Thanks for the shout out, but the Hamburglar got waived because I should back up. They were comparing sort of Condon's situation to Andrew Hammond's situation because Hammond almost exactly a year ago was with the Belleville Sens and got traded to the Avalanche, but remained with the Belleville Sens. And, going to the AHL was sort of a chance to rehab his career and stuff like that. Maybe the same can happen for Condon, right? So what this person said was, thanks for the shout out, but the Hamburglar got waived and then finally got a hip surgery he was being denied.
Oh.
Made more complicated by the fact that the person tweeting this, his wife.
Oh.
So Andrew Hammond's wife?
Yes. Hammond's, not Condon. And, the tweet that she was replying to was from Steve Warren from TSN. Mike Condon on waivers. That's what I expected after last night's game. Condon needs playing time. He's been good as an interim number one goalie, but like the Hamburglar, he may not be suited to being a true backup. Getting only the odd start. Great opportunity for McKenna. Yeah, by the way, Sens fans, Mike McKenna, who is kind of old for a resurgence in the NHL. We thought that about Curtis McElhinney too. Mike McKenna was amazing in the Calder Cup playoffs last year, amazing in the Calder Cup final. But yeah, that was a little bit of a bomb that most people missed.
That's interesting.
A little bit of complication with the Sens, but the fact that he wasn't sent down, and maybe that's changed since I read that.
I think it just makes him more tradable.
Well, the fact that he hasn't been sent down, I think means there's a trade in the works. Right? Because now they're just sitting there with 3 goalies. They have a little bit more flexibility since they sent Alex Formenton back to the London Knights. Faster than McDavid. Alex Formenton. Boy, the OHL is in trouble. Hey, yeah, I'm pretty sure he actually lit up the Leafs.
So, hey, the Budweiser Selly season. If you have submitted your Selly, we are now going to play on the YouTube channel the Sellies of the week. Here are your amazing Sellies. And by the way, just want to let you know that one of the people featured in this video is going to win their very own Budweiser Red Light. Not win, earn. They're going to earn their very own Budweiser Red Light. We will be reaching out to you separately. In the meantime, we're going to keep going with Bud. And here's the deal. You submit your Sellies over the next few weeks, and you, too, could have a red light or maybe something else. Use the hashtag SellySeason, CELLYSZN. Tag Budweiser Canada, tag Steve, tag Jesse, tag me, and you are entered. Here you go.
Go! Go, buddy! Go! Go! Yes! Yes! Go! 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 Yes! Oh, I know! Yes! Yes! Oh, yes!
Go! Go! Woo! James for Steve. And I also got a monkey here. Oh, not fish not right there he is. Go, Leafs, go. We love you, Steve.
Adam, you're really good.
Let's do the press conference.
Steve.
What?
You might have stumbled upon a very interesting trade tree via me.
Oh!
Yes. After you asked me to look up where that pick came from.
Auger.
Yes. Mr. Auger.
Auger.
So, that pick that they used to draft, Los Angeles used to draft Justin Auger, is actually Phoenix's pick. So Columbus acquired that pick when they traded Antoine Vermette to Phoenix in exchange for Curtis McElhinney.
Oh.
Yeah. So, and then Columbus traded that pick to Philadelphia when they got Bobrovsky. And then Philadelphia traded that to LA when Philadelphia got Simon Gagne. And then LA used it to draft Justin.
So what did the Flyers get?
Simon Gagne.
No, Simon Gagne went to the Kings.
No,
That's
he
where he
went
won the
to
cup.
Philadelphia in exchange for this pick.
He did?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Oh. Weird.
The Phoenix Coyotes' fourth-round pick went to Los Angeles as a result of a trade on February 26, 2013 that sent Simon Gagne to Philadelphia in exchange for this pick.
I was about to say, how many games did Simon Gagne play in 2013? I don't care.
Do you want to know?
No, I don't.
But it goes back to Curtis McElhinney, which I thought was wild.
That is
pretty crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
Noted Carolina Hurricanes great. Remember when everyone's like, and now he goes on waivers, and so does Pickard. No.
Nope.
Not as of yet.
Nope.
Anyways, yeah.
Still waiting.
There's a lot of moving parts in that one pick.
See, writing trade trees is hard.
That was pretty easy.
You know
I did
how
it in
many
like 5 minutes.
times I'd be like,
Did it verbally in like 2.
shut up.
All I'm saying is Steve doesn't have a job.
You know?
Steve doesn't have a job.
So many times I'd be like, and now to just write whatever the 7th round pick ended up being, and I'll be done. For crying out loud, it's a Hockey Hall of Famer. Oh, they played 1,000 games. How many teams they played for? 4. Great. Can't wait to see.
Excellent.
Oh, great. Speaking of which, Ron Hainsey, 1,000 games.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
Good for him.
I'll tell you how cool. 328 players, that's skaters and goalies, have ever played 1,000 games in the NHL.
How many?
That's it.
328. That's skaters and goalies.
Steve can name them all. Steve can definitely name them all.
He can portmanteau all of their names.
Yes, he can.
320. I can tell you all 3 goalies, only 3 goalies. Brodeur, Waugh, and still active,
Roberto Luongo.
Roberto Luongo.
Wow.
I got it. I
Wow.
There have been,
I would have thought.
what was the number? 8,708 players listed on NHL.com who have ever played in the NHL. Only 328. I made a video about this today. Only 328 have ever played in 1,000 games. That means if you make the NHL, which you have a fraction of a percentage of even making, you still only have a 4.2% chance of playing 1,000 games. So what Ron Hainsey, who we always criticize, has done is remarkable.
It
Longevity is something to be honored for.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And if he plays most of the season,
Which he will.
maybe misses a few for injury,
Yeah.
and potentially plays next season with someone, which he might, then he'll be in 1,100 games territory, and he'll be in the territory of something that fewer than 200 players have ever done,
Wow.
which is friggin' incredible.
If Ron Hainsey was in this room, we'd have combined 1,000 games. That's a Jesse
That's
stat for
true.
you.
Wow.
Good point.
That's
Combine
so many
1,000
games.
games.
What a talented room.
I know, right? Make a
I
YouTube
will have
video about it.
played an average of 250
NHL games.
NHL games.
That's amazing.
That's good.
More by the end of the year,
Wow.
too.
That's like 3-4 seasons.
I'm good, man.
That's good.
I'm really good.
You're pretty good. Jesse, question.
We didn't bring it up last episode, but we've all seen the Carlton Bear scaring.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah, somebody.
Oh, yeah, it's so good.
Dre Mino 015 on our Reddit page wanted you guys to make sure you've seen it. And yes, we have seen it. It's damn good.
They do some good stuff over at LNN. That was fun.
The Matthews one was funny. The two that stood out to me, Kapanen being genuinely mad.
Yes.
Are you kidding me? And Janssen throwing his phone.
Yeah.
That one made me laugh out loud. Janssen throwing his phone. I really appreciated that. That was good.
That's Adam's other company that he works for.
Yeah. I'm actually.
If
I'm
people don't
following,
know that.
I am following Paul Hendrick around next
Oh, yeah?
Wednesday from 4:30 till the end of the game.
You guys can call each other literally the nicest all day.
Well, when I was doing the podcast with Sasky last year, we had Paul on, and he's just awesome. Like, he's just such a nice guy.
Oh.
Do they play back-to-backs next week?
I think so.
Maybe.
Because they play Tuesday. They play Vegas Tuesday. So you're doing that Wednesday.
Tuesday, and then their next game is Friday
So no.
because
wouldn't be
that is the day of our tournament.
So yeah, it wouldn't be Wednesday you're following him around.
Oh, it's
'Cause there's no
Tuesday?
game that day.
Oh. Well, that changes things.
schedule better than he does.
Can we? I guess we're not recording Tuesday.
No, we
Well,
can't
we shouldn't
anyway.
anyway,
We
yeah.
can't anyway.
I'll be
but-
at that game too. Fun fact.
Oh, will you?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. All right.
See you
We
later.
actually. Oh,
Are you
really?
going to be there?
No. I don't know. I just Leafs tickets are still a rare thing for me.
Well, that's not
You know
true
what?
at all.
I've had such a good run when it comes to tickets over the last year that my wife, like in the car today, was like, it's been a few weeks since we've been to a Leafs game, and I'm like, you spoiled brat. You've gotten so spoiled. Leafs games used to be like a once or maybe twice a year thing. You know what I mean? And she goes, I know, I'm spoiled.
They still are for me.
This is from Fueled by Donuts.
Me too.
They want to know, how do we stop the league from becoming a NHL descendant only club?
That's a good.
I don't think we have the power to do that,
Dude,
but
funding kids programs. Like, it is a rich person sport.
Yeah.
It is. Like, okay, Connor McDavid is an incredible player, an incredible talent, the best one in the league, works extremely hard, is in the NHL for a reason. It's because he's worked very hard. Also rich. Like,
Yeah, his family had the means to put him in hockey.
well, and put him in power skating when he was like 3.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
You know, there's no, like, gone are the stories of Mario Lemieux's family friggin' flooding his front hallway so he could learn skating. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which still, that gives me heart palpitations. There's got to be something
That must
to
have been
that
a cold
story.
house.
Yeah, there's got to be something to that story. I don't know. Maybe it was like a wine cellar or something like that makes a little bit more sense.
Or like, a guy like Jordan Tutu.
A guy like Jordan Tutu's
Like, what a
another
story
great
that is,
example.
especially in the modern era, right?
Wayne Simmons, we always go back to. He's not in the NHL right now, but Michael Bunting is a name that I go back to. And like, he wasn't even, like, I'm not talking about like a underprivileged guy. Like, Michael Bunting, from what I gather anyway of his story, I don't know specifically, just sort of grew up suburban. And when it came to playing AAA, his parents were like, we can't afford it. And the vast majority of parents can't afford to put their kids through AAA. They can barely afford AA.
That can be 20, 25 grand
It's in a year.
a year.
A year. Like, if there are some parents who
Like, if your kid's in high school for 4 years and they're playing AAA the whole time, that's $100,000 after tax, which, and by the way, in Canada is very high. Taxes are very high here.
like 20 grand, 25 grand, some parents could maybe justify it to themselves by going, okay, I'll take out a loan and this will be like their tuition because they're really talented and they have a legitimate shot of making it. I'll do it. And it's still a risk. But like, the reason you see so many familiar names it's not, they got great genetics, but they got millions of dollars as well. You know, so there needs to be better funding for like
I know
kids programs and stuff like that.
Canadian Tire's thing is that, like, don't they do where they'll give you all the equipment to start?
Jumpstart.
Okay, Jumpstart, yeah. And I always thought, like, I've always wanted to do, if I ever make enough money, I've always wanted to do a charity where you're almost sponsoring a kid through X amount of years. Because Jumpstart's great, but that takes you through 1 year.
I know.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is one of those things that, like, okay, so then what happens? Okay, so the kid's 6 years old, they get equipment. The next year, I mean, maybe even halfway through the year, there were years where I outgrew skates mid-season. And
this is what I'm saying. So, like, let's say you gave that kid $1,000.
Yeah,
What does
just
that get?
equipment. They just give them the equipment. They don't give them money.
Well, yeah, okay, fair enough. Because I was going to say $1,000 would get them through 18 months.
Maybe, dude, maybe on the especially the way equipment costs now. Like, I was $1,000.
Kids' equipment is cheaper, but still.
But still, it's pretty expensive. And the sticks being, what they used to be were $15 when I got them.
I just
they're
spent
now $100.
$400 on hockey equipment. Was happy to have only spent $400, and part of the reason was because I already had skates and a helmet.
Yeah.
If I had to buy skates too, we're looking at like $700.
So that's the thing. Like, it's just become, and you know what? We're going to see it in a few years. There's going to be negative effects from this. And I would say in a few years, I would say 5 to 10 years.
Hockey.
Yeah. And you know who's going to be to blame is the companies that have ratcheted up the price just because they can. And what I've always thought was, here's another great idea that I have never followed through on. I've always thought that it'd be really great to come out with a brand of hockey equipment that is like, like when you go to Loblaws or whatever, there's the no-name brand.
Yeah. Kirkland brand sticks.
Bingo. And whereas it's like, okay, because the products that Bauer sells, the products that CCM sells, they're not selling on volume, they're selling on, on expense, right? Yeah. Where if you could bring those prices down but sell huge volume and put them in Costco, and they're safe, they're not maybe the most sexy or whatever, but at least families can afford them.
Where's the Walmart of
Bingo.
hockey equipment? Yeah.
I would love to do that. I know nothing about manufacturing, so I'm not getting involved in this. But if you do this idea, make the generic brand, boring brand, hockey stuff that's not sexy, but at least people can play. Because this is the problem. 10 years from now, all we're going to have are these families and that are hockey families and the rich kids that are also playing.
Yeah.
And we gotta, like, it was, the whole you can play movement's great. I think it's awesome, but I think it needs to include the economically disadvantaged as well.
Yeah, and I should say, I mentioned Connor McDavid and how he grew up rich and everything. His mother actually, and we have the opportunity to interview her for the show, is working with Skate to Great, which is a company that we've done business with in the past, and they try to get used equipment to kids who need it.
Yeah.
So, not attacking Connor McDavid.
People tend
obviously.
to hold people. Like, people tend to hold that against people, which I think is crap, right? Like, you're rich, so you blah, blah, blah. Like, no, you shouldn't do that. But what we should do is if we have the opportunity and we've got these ideas, we should be...
Philanthropy.
Yes.
And yes, ideas. Ideas, I think, are more valuable than money.
Yeah. I think if
but
you can
money helps.
Well, I think, and I'm not against charity. I think charity's great. But I think if you can make an economic business model that's viable, that also helps kids... And people understand that. That's part of your company mandate. Is the idea here is to keep the costs as low as possible while still maintaining safe hockey gear and to sell on volume rather than on huge prices. I honestly think that would do extremely well in this country. And I think it would involve, and in the States, it's even more expensive to play hockey. It's insane in the States.
Yeah, because the ice is so rare, so you're doubling
crazy.
that on top of that.
I have a friend that's his
I played
kid
Shinny the other day. Sorry.
And they don't have Canadian Tire.
Yeah.
I played Shinny the other day. It cost $8, and I was upset about it because I thought it should be $5 or less.
I have a buddy whose kid plays for Scott, the Young Ducks or something in California.
Scott
Niedermayer's one of the coaches on the team.
Holy shit.
So this kid's a good player, right?
Wow.
He might be 11 or 12. Like, he's not an old guy. And first off, they're driving to Anaheim from Los Angeles every day for practice.
Nightmare.
Which is a nightmare.
That is a nightmare drive. I've made it.
So that's
it's awful.
That's a 3-4 hour commitment for a 1 hour practice.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, it's the expense, and they fly them around the country to do tournaments. It's only because he's only because he comes from an economically advantaged family that they can do that, right?
Wow.
There you go. Wild brand hockey equipment.
Can you believe that?
If you only got equipment from your cousins like I did growing up, and this is what I would say in the commercial, if you got hand-me-down equipment for your cousins for 10 years, then this is the brand for you.
Who are you, Doug's Ford dealership?
I'm wild. Open for business.
There's the wacky inflatable flailing arm tube man.
Folks, got a deal for you.
Toronto is open for business.
My new brand of sticks. Folks, get your folks stick, my friends. Those are the two things that I say.
Glen Aaron Chrysler.
Folks and my friends.
What is going on here?
Listen, that's what I would do. I'd be like, listen, if you had to use 20-year-old pads growing up, which I did, and I relished having them, there could be an alternative.
And
that would
also
be nice.
come down and get your used Mitsubishi Lancer.
Yeah, come on down. Talk to Stacy. She's our number one rep this month. Hey, I love that in Buffalo. They always the Buffalo car commercials are the best, and they'll be like, "Hey, this is our number one sales rep this month," and then the sales rep will come out.
And Tom walks out. And he's like,
"Hey, come on down and
Come out
get
in
your
a shark
GMC
costume.
with 0% financing and 5% down." Great.
If you contact a company like Skate to Great, if you have the equipment, dude, even Value Village, just
Play It Again Sports is a great
Play
spot.
It Again Sports. There was an old neighbor of mine. I had never met him until this day, but I was actually out in my driveway taking shots on
Awfully
my net.
familiar of you to call him old if you've just met him.
He was, he seemed it. He was just like, I'm 28, but I've had a rough time. He's just hard miles, It's just.
have you watched the newest season of Big Mouth?
No, is it
Season 2?
good?
Not.
You have.
Big Mouth is my favorite.
There's a running
show.
gag about one of the characters being an old man.
Don't want to know.
Don't want to know.
Can't wait.
But he's just saw me taking shots. He's like, "Hey, you!" Calls me over. I'm like, "Oh my god, he's gonna yell at me for making noise or something." I'm like, "What the hell?" And he's like, "Hey, I'm moving," and I'm like, "Oh, I'll miss you." Like, I don't know. I've never even met this guy. He's like, "Yeah, but I saw you're right-handed. Here, you want my sticks?" And he had 40 sticks.
Wow.
All wood. There was one aluminum one.
How dare he have wooden sticks?
Yeah, but they were sticks. They're usable. If you're that guy with even 6 sticks in your what do you need with 6 sticks? You got 6 people in the house who play hockey? Get rid of them.
Are you stick shaming people?
I am stick shaming people. Look, unless you're an Italian person, unless you're Italian with a lot of tomatoes to grow, you should give those sticks to someone who needs them. You don't need the sticks for your tomatoes anyway. There's an election every 2 years. Just use the sticks from those signs and you're good.
If you're a grown man,
that's a Joe Avani bit, I'm pretty sure.
If you're a grown man or woman, if you're an adult and you don't have kids and you have 6 sticks in your garage,
you're a piece of garbage.
You're a piece of garbage, according to Steve Dangle.
And everyone hates you.
Everyone.
By
the way,
Eric Lindros hates you. I am Eric Lindros, and I hate you. See that? We got to record that. I'm Paul Hendrick, and I hate you.
Somebody gave us a bunch of sticks growing up too, and like this is back when those sticks were wooden and they were cheap.
Mm-hmm.
And every single garage, I think, on my street had a coho stick that was a huge thick branch of a stick.
It was a tree trunk.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody had a coho stick from the mid '80s somewhere in their garage, and I remember that was like a thing.
Wood.
Yeah, and that's
tree ass wood. Like it has a heart with Sally and Jim carved into
You
it.
could get splinters by holding it.
Yes.
And did.
Yeah.
Wow, we sound old.
There's a family of squirrels in the stick.
Do you think that Italian families will use carbon fiber sticks for their tomatoes in the future?
Yeah.
I mean, because you mentioned that, right?
Yeah.
You know, because for the backyards and stuff.
They would probably do that.
Can I end the show on something?
Flood the tomato
different?
garden?
Yeah, sure, Jesse, go ahead.
So, Kono IMO on our Reddit page pointed me out to a new T-shirt that we have to laugh at after the famous Ritu Pack T-shirt.
Ritu Pack.
And then the Dick logo from the Blackhawks. We now
Happy
have...
thousand, Dick.
We now have H18 Tory made.
Wait.
They're trying to spell history made, and they've turned the...
That's actually not bad. That's not bad.
No.
It looks like
the
from
Red
this
Sox.
from far away.
18 Tory made.
Hiya, Tory.
It's
Or
way
if you
better
just
than
take-
retrospect.
So some of the letters are white, some of them are red. So if you just go by the color, it's H Tory 18 made. Or 18
But-
made H Tory.
Adam.
That's terrible.
Would you change your opinion on the Hate 18 Tory made T-shirt if I told you that this isn't the first time it's been done?
What?
Because-
I want to see the H17 Tory shirt.
Because the Denver Broncos also had the exact same T-shirt when Peyton Manning retired.
That doesn't look like an IS.
Haven't they retired his number and the Colts haven't or something like that?
Is that a thing?
I don't know if that's a thing.
No, I think the Colts have retired his number by
That's
now.
because he used to be on that team, but it's 18 Tory now.
And but this is okay. That's Peyton Manning's number. It's 18. That's why they used it. But the Red Sox, their World Series T-shirt, the hit 18, is because they won it in 2018. Is the only reason?
No,
it's not.
I thought they had 18 World Series.
No, it's just they won it this year. Anyways, terrible T-shirts. It's one of my favorite things.
I want to
Don't buy a
burn that shirt.
H18 Tory shirt.
You know who should
please.
buy it though? Wasted Red Sox fans. If your team won, buy all the merch. Who cares how stupid it looks?
They've won so many trophies that they don't mind busting up the trophy that they had.
Oh, throwing beer at it?
Throwing beer at it.
Yeah.
Was that beer open? I think they were just trying to pass beers to the players, were they
Yeah,
not?
it was closed beer, and they were like, we're having fun and chucking beers at the players, and they can catch it and drink it. But it was very dangerous.
Yeah.
Don't
Boston.
throw beer at people, please.
Boston. Yes. Please don't throw beer. Also,
Unless everyone will be mad at
If you want to make generic brand hockey gear and have me be your hard salesman, here's our #1 salesperson this month. You just reach out to my DMs. They're open.
Are we wrapping up the show?
Yeah, I think we're done.
What do you...
CelebrityHockeyClassics.com. Go to the Eric Lindros one, because that's the one we're playing in a week today. Less than a week by the time you listen to this. Go to the scoreboard. Our team is Rachel's Raiders Remix. There's also Rachel's Raiders, so if you want to donate to me, Adam, or Jesse, we're on the remix. There's a bunch of people on Rachel's Raiders without the remix. There's Story Sayers, who's been on the show, Harrison Brown, Ken Reed, who's been on the show, Brendan Dunlop, Luke Fox, who's been on the show, Peter
Brendan
Anthony.
Dunlop is aware that we are not playing footy. Oh. I found that out. Yeah.
Footy. Footy. That's what it's called. So, yeah, if you want to donate to us, we would really appreciate it. The remix is in second place right now. and we can't have that.
No, we should be in first.
Second place overall.
Overall. Like, I'm still thrilled with how we've done.
Yeah.
The remix alone has raised over 20, and the other team has raised over 7, I
Nice.
think. So combined, we're over 27. That's bananas. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going.
$27. Over $27.
There you go.
We're making H-Team for you. Everyone agrees.
Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Brought to you by Panago Pizza. Order at panago.com and stuff your face with deliciousness.